Welcome to Blinkers Off with your hosts, Jared Welch and Aaron Halterman.
Good evening. What's up, everybody? I'm Jared Welch. He is Aaron Alterman. It is Thursday, August 28th, and this is Blinkers Off. What's up, dude?
Yeah, what's up, man? It feels like a quick turnaround because Del Mar drew so late, and we've just nonstop trying to get it out and going. But yeah, it's a quick turnaround. But man, I don't remember a Labor Day weekend better than this one for racing. This is setting up to be just really good.
Oh, you're right. I don't know if it's like a little bit of the Travers hangover. Of course, we were there, so we didn't get back home till Monday night, and so Tuesday rolls around, and then it's like, oh shit, we're rolling right back into the week here. Listen, it's a bigger weekend than the Travers weekend. It really is. When you think about coast to coast, Del Mar with the Pacific Classic, back at Saratoga with the Jockey Club Gold Cup. Not to mention, you've got 5 legit, 4.5 if you want to count fierceness, legit Breeders' Cup Classic contenders, not to mention Sovereignty, who was, again, last week in the Travers. It's right now is this like the most pivotal time when it comes to this Classic.
Yeah, absolutely it is. And you're right. The Classic kind of has a leader in the clubhouse and Sovereignty, but we've got so many horses that are going to run this weekend that are going to maybe tell us a different story. In coast to coast and day to day, Sunday for the Jockey Club Gold Club Cup, and of course Saturday for the Pacific Classic. So, look, I think these races are better than what we really saw last weekend, even on the undercard. I think both these races are just really. I don't think we could have asked for them to come up any stronger.
Yeah, it's like you said, you got multiple Breeders' Cup Challenge races on the weekend as well. Of course, these two races, the Jockey Club and the Pacific Classic, are official Classic prep races as well. So you really got everything, and not whether it be flash forward to Monday's card at Saratoga, and of course you've got the Hopeful, which is obviously exciting in itself. The Spin Away before that, and so yeah, it's a huge weekend. We'll talk about the Travers. We'll get all into the Travers here shortly. Overall, what do you think of the Travers this year? Just in a nutshell, not necessarily the race itself, but the undercard, some of the performances. Bookham Dano, Torpedo Anna. What really stood out to you aside from the obvious, which we'll get to in a second.
Yeah, it was it lived up to it, right? You had close finishes between horses that were really good. You got some prices in underneath if you were trying to get those, but it lived up to what we thought it would be. I thought the Personal Ensign was just an incredible race with Torpedo Anna and Darth Vader. I thought Bookham Dano probably didn't run his absolute best race, but was still able to find a way to win. So I was impressed with that. Patch Adams, I was impressed with again. I thought the undercard gave us race after race that was really close and good and exciting. And then, like I said, we'll talk about the Travers in a second. That was just kind of the horse exhibition, so to speak. But I thought the undercard was about as good as you could get. I know people probably would like to have a few more long shots come in, or at least one long shot come in. But on the big days, that does seem to happen where it's pretty chalky. So, you just have to take that for what it is.
I know some people are like that. I get it. But I think we were talking about it at dinner or something while we were there. It's like, to me, there's just nothing better than like a good horse just throwing it down, Yeah. I don't care that if he's 1-9 or really, frankly, if he's 20-1, but when the horse puts on like a performance where you just are left standing there like, holy shit. Now, the close finishes are fun. Torpedo Anna, still don't know how she got, her nose down on that one, but she did. But good call, Vinny, by the way, calling that live. We were watching it right on the wire, and we're like, and he's like, oh, she got it. Like, dude, I don't think so. No, she got it. You can see he's Rain Man. But it is funny that after the weekend, even though nothing necessarily changed from the McPeak, it started as she won. His whole thing was like, hey, yeah, we're gonna, the goal is to get to the Classic with her. She won. Okay. Then Sovereignty happened. He's like, well, yeah, hang on a second. We are logical here. We are going to go to the distaff. So even Sovereignty, not only is Sovereignty scaring away the 3-year-old males, clearly, he's now scaring away Torpedo Ana.
Yeah, I mean, no surprise, right? You kind of figured that was the case. And yeah, McPeak's up at Saratoga, right? He's seen this horse. We sat right behind him when he saw this horse win the Belmont, and he's been up there watching him, and he knows what kind of horse that is. So, yeah, I mean, look, again, we'll get into it during the Travers discussion. There's a lot to talk about. Maybe not so much about the dynamics of the Travers and what happened, but just how good this horse is, and how we had 4 other horses other than him in the Travers because of just how good he is, and people that understand what they're watching and know what they're watching, look at that and go, wow, this is really turning into something special. So anyway, though, I've been telling everybody I know, my friend Vinny called this photo finish. Watch this race and tell me how he called it live. So great job by Vinny calling.
Yeah, we were we were right there, kind of on the wire, really. But it's like mass crowd. Everybody knows how, especially Saratoga, like you get closer to post, and everyone just squeezes their way up towards the rails. So it was hard to see it all, and it's like, oh, she got it. Oh, he was like relief, and he said he looked over at me, and I had my head down, and
yeah,
and you were probably the same, and it's like, he's like, what? She got it. Like, dude, I don't know. No, she got it, and then. They watched it. It's like the closest head bob of all time, too. Like, she didn't even have it, and then she had it. And then when she did have it, because it was a great bob, it still was by a nostril.
Yeah.
Yeah, so good call.
She wasn't ahead at one point, a couple points maybe. They were right at the wire until right at the end where she got the bob. But, yeah, no, like I said, yeah, I'm with, like, look, I think on a big day, you want to see the star horses run really well. And if they get beat, let's hope they get beat because they ran well, but somebody ran better. And so that did almost happen a couple times. Dorth Vader and Captain Cook almost did beat that really good horse. But that's what made it great, that horses did fire big races like Torpedo Ana, like Patch Adams, but still almost lost. And so that was really cool to see.
Yeah, it was, those were, it's like you said, we had some big time performances. We had some close finishes. Really, the whole day was fun. And other than the fact that we didn't get there till like race 4 because of our flight got delayed in Chicago on Friday night. Not only delayed, we just didn't make our flight because we got delayed on our first flight, and so we stayed the night in Chicago. Saturday morning, Travers morning, we're working in the airport with, getting the picks out and Bible update and all those things. Board the plane, get to Saratoga, shoot over to the track. It is like, all right, we're there by race. I think it was like 5, 6. I don't know what race that was, but got all the stakes, and it was still. And we went back on Sunday, of course, as well. So solid trip. But hey, let's get into the racing. We'll get into the biggest race of the weekend. Certainly one of the bigger races that we're going to see all year. That is, of course, the Travers List Show right here, guys. Stay tuned. We're going to go down and break down everything about Sovereignty's dominant victory in the $1.25 million DraftKings Travers Stakes at Saratoga. Then we're going to look ahead this weekend with huge weekend of expert picks from myself and Halterman, from the Pacific Classic at Del Mar and the Jockey Club Gold Cup at Saratoga on Sunday. Those are 2 Breeders' Cup winning your in races for the Classic. Let's go. Kentucky Downs. I know. Look, how about that, Ron? We were talking about that earlier. It's like Chalk Fest. So it's brewing. But hey, how about this, Ron? How about the camera? How about watching it? It's such a better experience now watching the simulcast.
It was good. I blame the camera for it being chalky. They finally turned into a real track that you could actually watch their races and know what's happening. So now it's all chalk. But
that's what I was thinking. I was like, so all of a sudden, now that we've fixed the cameras, like something's got to be different with the surface now. It's all normal now. Took away all the fun.
It was crazy. I watched the first race, and I immediately said, this is different. I hope it stays like this. I can actually see them. And when they crossed the wire, I was like, wow. I watched that whole race, and I knew what happened. Amazing. I don't know why it took so long, but I give them credit. that was a very, very pleasant afternoon watching. Yeah, I know, again, like a lot of chalk, but at least you knew that where your horse that you bet was in the race. So
yeah, it was a nice it was a nice combo of the cameras being better, right? But also the little, ticker thing that shows where they're at on the track.
Yeah.
So then you can kind of use both to help you out. And it's like, oh, this is perfect. You know how much is left. Sometimes every time when you're watching one of those stretch runs at Kentucky Downs, you're just like, where's the wire? I don't know. I hope it's soon.
Yep.
But yeah, so yeah, it's good to have Kentucky Downs back with good simulcast feed. All right, last Saturday at Saratoga, we saw something very, very special, historic, you might say. Sovereignty won, no shocker there, in a small field of 5. Won the Travers Stakes. Halterman, let me just break down a couple points for you to talk about. I kind of went through some of the facts of what happened in this race. So, 10-length victory for Sovereignty here. It's the largest since Arrogate. That was in 2016. The time was 2 minutes flat, 0.84. That's tied as the 5th fastest in Travers history. He's only the 2nd horse to win the Kentucky Derby, Belmont, and Travers since 1942. He's only the 11th Derby Travers double ever. He's the first ever to win the Derby, Belmont, Jim Dandy, and Travers in the same season. He earned a career best 115 buyer for the win. It's the highest awarded to any horse this year. And it's Bill Mott's first ever, long-awaited first ever Travers win. So checked off some boxes there for Sovereignty's win.
Yeah, definitely. He was, I can't believe how good he's gotten. I was talking to our buddy Patrick last night on his show, and he was not trying to, but we were talking about Arrogate, and we're talking about, Justify. We're talking about American Pharaoh. And then, of course, we go to Sovereignty, and he's just like, I remember when we were sitting together on the air after the Kentucky Derby, and we all three were like, you know what? This horse is really good. Like, he's really come on, but he comes from way too far out of it. And I don't know what that looks like long-term. Yeah, he's going to win a race or two somewhere, but he's going to lose a few because he just comes from too far out of it. And he's going to get in trouble. Look at Sierra Leone. He wasn't that far behind, but he was kind of in that area. Then the Belmont happened. And he sat 2 lengths off the pace and closed like he was in the back of the pack. And I looked at you that day and I said, if he can do that, he's better than anything we've seen since American Pharaoh. And I truly believe that, because that kind of horse is really tough to beat. Then he did it again in the Jim Dandy, and then he did it again in the Travers. He's now a horse that went from being towards the back of the pack to being towards the front of the middle pack of horses. And that's dangerous because he's closing like he's from the back. He's not losing any energy, even though he's sitting closer to the pace. Those kind of horses are really almost impossible to beat, because if you got a horse that's handy enough to get up close where they do not let a speed horse get away from them, yet you still can run huge down the stretch. I mean, that's very tough to beat. So he's in rarefied air right now for me.
Yeah, we'll pull up the replay here on screen while we're talking about it. You're right. Like, every time he breaks so well every time. And I know this is a 5-horse field, so it's hard to really get too far back. But let me look at him right here. He could go to the lead if he wanted to, frankly. I mean, he sits off now a little bit, but he's so tactical, but yet still has that devastating kind of kick. And it's like the longer the race goes, the more he kind of gears up, his legs and everything, kind of the more powerful he becomes. And we've seen it in the last, his last couple starts, really, like you said, since the Derby, where it's like for half a second, and now I'm saying half a second, it feels like, oh, what? Hang on, we got a race here, then it's over. And it's happened all 3 times. You look at journalism, thought he was a winner. Bieza looked kind of dangerous, right, for half a second. No, he didn't. And then even here, Bracket Buster, I mean, say that was magnitude ran like shit, but say that was magnitude, you'd be thinking, oh man, hang on, and then he's over. Like, he just, the longer, before you know it, he's 10 lengths ahead. He's striding away, and that's been at 1.8 miles. That's been at 1.25 miles. He just gets better the longer the races go.
Yeah, it's really special, and this one was one where it's like I knew almost on the first turn the race was over. I didn't think Magnitude looked very good, even when he was just kind of out there on the lead. I still didn't think he was running all that well, and yeah, you just kind of knew this one was over pretty quick. But yeah, I mean, and the other thing that this horse just seems to be getting better and better. I don't know that we've seen his best race. At the Belmont, I kind of thought, yeah, he'll have a hard time doing that again. That was pretty good. He's done it again twice, and this was probably better. I know he beat a much weaker field. Guys, look at the last, I don't know, 100 yards of that race. He's under a hold, and he ran the 5th fastest Travers time. This horse is, I don't know that we've seen the bottom of him. And you just reeled off all the races this horse has now won in a row. And I'm sitting here going, you know what? He might be better. We might see a better version of him somewhere down the road. And I'm with you. I honestly believe if Alvarado asked him, he could take a field gate to wire.
Mm-hmm.
He breaks very sharply now. And, he just asked, he listens to what Alvarado tells him to do. And, and he just does it. So push button horse, no question.
Well, I mean, look, yeah, he's moved up a little bit, but even when you back it up a little ways, midway through the race, look, he's what, 2 links off Magnitude, in Bracket Buster, which it's like, oh, Magnitude got tired. Well, Sovereignty's not necessarily, he's not like he's 10 links back. Well, he just sits in, I don't think anybody in this field, especially, he could have gone this gate to wire. Well, the question now becomes it's like we've disposed of the 3-year-olds. Forget about it. Like it's kind of like when you're playing in some sort of division of whatever sport, and you're like you started just kicking the crap out of every team. It's like, all right, now it's time to move up to D1. Like we need to get this horse up here to see what he can do against the older horses.
Yeah, but shit, he's been at D1 levels, so D1 against a better team, I guess, is what you would say now.
Yeah.
Look, I think it's just crazy the amount of people that thought that Magnitude would get 8 links ahead of Sovereignty. Like I heard that a lot. He goes, well,
yeah, that's crazy.
Magnitude's he's so fast, he'll get ahead of him. And I said, there's no doubt he'll be ahead of him, but like 3 links, I would say is max. They're like, oh no. And people were saying he's capable of running 46 to the half. I said, if that horse runs 46 to the half, he'll be done by the 3/4. He's not going to go that fast over this track against this type of horse. And that was the thing. And that's why I was never worried at all, because he's right there 2 links off this horse. Magnitude is not holding that horse off. I don't care if he fires one of his bigger races. You're not holding that horse off when he's a couple of links behind you. And I don't know that there's a horse out there that can get away from him now. That's the thing. It used to, yes, there were horses that could get away from him because he was so far back. But now I don't really care that there's a speed horse in the race. I don't think that is going to bother him at all. I think the only way you beat him is to come from behind him. And I don't know who could do that either. So he may just be in rare air right now.
He really is. And, going to train up to the Classic is what Bill Mott has said, which makes sense. We've seen this before, obviously, with one that always comes to mind is Pharaoh. Of course, he lost to Travers, but went on to win the Classic. So, but going to train up to that. Needs to do nothing between now and then, but is going to stay at Saratoga and then ship out probably, I would assume, week or 2 before the Classic. But yeah, it'll be fun. It'll be fun to see what happens this weekend, because let's just say, we'll get into the Pacific Classic here in a second. Let's say journalism wins, and then all of a sudden you're like, well, like he's the best of Nysos and fierceness, and Sovereignty just beats the hell out of that horse every time. Like, who has he got to face? And then I guess the question would be, well, it's Sierra Leone and possibly Mindframe. Well, there's going to be a horse he hasn't faced, obviously, when he gets to the Classic, but this weekend will be a nice kind of preview of what he's going to have to face.
As this camera rolls here, there's not a horse in sight as he gallops out. And again,
and by the way, he's just galloping. It's just like he just cruised around the track.
And look, that's how a really good horse should beat the field that's not that good, and it wasn't a very good field. So, but still, that just to see that, it's something. it's just something you don't see very often. And I've got a great appreciation for it. Because let's face it, when it comes to the Triple Crown Series and even a little bit into the summer, we haven't had a great 3-year-old crop. That crop last year developed about this time of year and ran that huge Travers. And then they were really, really good to go on the rest of the year. But the first of the year, it was kind of a little bit hit and miss. But and before that, we hadn't had one for a while. But this really, really, really is a special horse. This is one of the better ones. Like I said, I think it's the best horse I've seen as a 3-year-old running these races over and over since American Pharoah.
Is there is it an impossible question? I'll ask it before we kind of end the discussion on the Travers. Is there, how do you beat him? What's it take to beat him? Is it gonna simply take him just not like something happening, not firing, like he just has one of those days? Like he's going to be fresh going into the Classic. How in the hell do you beat this horse? Like what game can you take to him that where he won't, that you can beat him?
You got to be better than him. Like there's nothing you can do with a horse that has this style. I mean, I guess you could try to box him in, but he's such a beast. I really don't think that'll bother him. You got to be better. You got to be Nysos and let's say Nysos, and you can outkick him. Say Nysos wins by 3 lengths this week. Okay, maybe he can just outkick him. Maybe Sierra Leone can outkick him. I mean, that's what you got to be. That's the only way. You got to be better than him. And again, it's not like he's a horse that, even Knicks Go, who I know won the Breeders' Cup Classic and a lot of big races. He was a horse where you Knicks Go, you could go, okay, I know how we beat him. Let's send a bunch of rabbits and try to mess with him. That might work, right?
Yeah.
Or against Sierra Leone, you go, well, if the pace is slow, we got him beat. There aren't race factors that get this horse beat. And that's what makes it really, really tough. That's why I keep saying it over and over. When you have this style, the race factors don't get you beat. If they're blazing up front, it doesn't really matter. You don't want to go up there anyway. You're just going to sit behind them. If they're going really, really slow, well, you're just right there. They have no separation on you. You have to simply just be better than him to beat him. And I'm sorry, there's only maybe 2 horses out there right now that might be better than him. Maybe. I don't think they are, but maybe after next week we might say, hey, they could be, But for my money right now, there's just nobody on his level.
But what's kind of funny about him is that he's as good as he is. You can just tell, like, Junior has to not really get after him, but just ride him, right? Has to really kind of, and that's when he starts to extend. Horse like, say, Flightline, and that's it was like you just cruised on him, right? Push, you just kind of went like he did. Pratt could have never moved on Flightline. He just gets extended. With Sovereignty, he continues to get faster throughout the race, or at least it looks that way, and extend. And it's like, I'll show this now while I'm talking, but you can see, like, it's not like he just kind of cruises up. I mean, Junior's riding, he's really hitting those reins at him, not whipping him or anything, but just really riding him to get him kind of moving. And then once he does, it's like the horse wakes up, continues to wake up throughout the race. And then by the end, he's fully awake and you're screwed.
Yeah, he reminds me of Curlin a little bit in that way. You kind of had to get him going, and then once you got him to that high cruising speed, you didn't have to do a whole lot. He'd go for you, but it took a little bit to rouse him up. Will Take Charge was another horse.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying Will Take Charge is as good as this horse. He wasn't, but I'm saying it took a while. Man, you had to ride him, and then you would finally kind of get to that speed, right? And so some are like that. I mean, I think you're absolutely right. He's certainly not a okay, hit the button, boom, takes off. He's 5 ahead of you.
Yeah.
It takes a minute, but like I said, once he gets going, once he levels out, it's lights out. And it's really impressive. And what if he learns, oh, you don't need to tell me that hard anymore. Just tell me a couple times and I'll take off. Like, what if that's something that he's figuring out? I mean, he figured out how to be closer to the pace, right? So I think there's still a chance he gets better.
Well, however you want to figure it out, because obviously it is pretty insane how drastically he's improved since, say, the Florida Derby. However you want to look at that, but he's obviously maturing, right? And these horses they're getting older as 3-year-olds. And so, yeah, I mean, who's to say at the end of this year, Breeders' Cup, he doesn't figure out a little bit, a little more push button. And then, gosh, I mean, I don't know what they're going to do with him. If they try to run him, it's Godolphin. If they're going to try to run him, you would think try to win over in Dubai. But how much longer they're going to run him. But he feels like a horse that could continue to get better as a 4-year-old too.
Yeah, I mean, if they allow him to do it and he stays healthy, I think you're right. And yeah, I mean, you do. One of my favorite takes, and I won't name it. Somebody texts me. He's like, when this Tapan Street comes back, he could be the horse we've been waiting for. Because Tapan Street beat Sovereignty in the Florida Derby. And I said, you do realize this isn't even the same world that for Sovereignty. Like, he's 20 links better than he was back then. And that's look, Tapan Street may come back and be really good. But the Tapan Street that we saw in the Florida Derby, if he ran that same race again against Sovereignty, he would be absolutely destroyed. So Tapan Street will have to improve quite a bit to match up with Sovereignty. Just because a horse beats a horse once, this is just different right now. That what Sovereignty is doing is just completely different.
Good friend of the show, good friend of ours, Ryan asks if the horse does stick around, is it possible that he gets in that Flightline Arrogate kind of tier?
I don't know, because those two were when they were at their absolute best, they were the freakiest damn horses I've ever seen. Like, impossible to beat type horses. I don't know that he gets into that talent level tier. I will say, in my mind, he's already passed them in the resume tier. Let me back up. If he wins the Breeders' Cup Classic, he has to win the Breeders' Cup Classic because those two did. But if he does that, I look at Sovereignty from a resume standpoint higher than Flightline or Arrogate. Now, absolute best race for all of them, I don't know if anybody will be Flightline or Arrogate. Yeah. That they were incredible horses. They also, for Flightline, obviously they just couldn't keep him sound enough to run a whole lot. And Arrogate just had that magical stretch, but after that he was just kind of average. So, but again, say if he wins the Classic and he gets like a 120 buyer, we maybe then we talk about it. But from the resume standpoint, if he wins the Classic, the resume exceeds what Flightline or Arrogate did.
Yeah, we kind of talked a little bit about that over the weekend, and I kind of said the fact that we're even discussing the name Arrogate and Flightline in the conversation of Sovereignty, I think says everything you really need to know about them, because it's like we get so stuck on, and that's in all sports, like comparing who's the GOAT, who's the greatest, who did this better, who did that. Sometimes it's okay to just appreciate it, especially when they're still running, going. Let's just, I mean, the fact that when I saw Flightline, we were there, lucky enough to be there in person. When I saw Flightline, I was like, part of me was super excited, right? Of course. Part of me was bummed because I'm never going to see a horse that good in my whole life. And I'm still relatively young. I'm never going to see a good one as good as that one again. That's how that felt. So it's hard to get there. But the fact that we're even discussing that the possibility, because there certainly has not been a horse since him where I'm like, oh, there's possibility that he could be as good as Flightline. Absolutely not. He's another stratosphere, not even the same category. I think it says a lot.
Yeah, I think when you think about Flightline, his Pacific Classic and his Breeders' Cup Classic, those are the two best races I've ever seen from just a pure talent on display standpoint. I don't know that and I'm with you. I don't know that they'll ever be topped. That's how good they were. Arrogate's Travers, I think that a little bit as well as just, wow, yeah. I don't know that that'll ever be topped. It was amazing. But boy, I as much as I bragged about Sovereignty, I just think that was just another level. I don't know that we'll ever see that again. But again, you outlast those horses because you were more sound. You win more big races because you were more sound. You dance all the dances. I know he didn't do the Preakness, but he still had a pretty good schedule with a lot of big races in it. So that's kind of how you get by him, even if you don't show that absolute elite talent. And let's face it, I think with Flightline, he was too fast for his own good. Like, they just could not keep the horse sound because he was so fast.
Yeah. He was, and yeah, he definitely didn't. He barely got on the track. I mean, when he was on the track, he was deadly, but unfortunately, yeah, not didn't even it wasn't even able to participate in like a Triple Crown season with him. So
yeah,
if he doesn't win the Classic, he like what happened? Like, so let's say he goes to the Classic and he gets beat. Does it? I mean, obviously, it diminishes the comparison to Arrogant and Flyline and all that stuff, but like, does it really diminish much because of, I mean, the year he's had? Certainly would. I mean, assuming he gets beat, it would be by your mind frame, Sierra Leone, Nysos, one of those older horses, you would assume. And to me, it just would say, wow, those horses are pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, if he loses the Classic, I'm not, I'm saying, well, hey, American Pharoah was better because guess what? He did go win the Classic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Look, I think, look, we're sitting here talking about we've been in this since 2007, right? I don't comment on horses before 2007 because I wasn't here to really see it, understand it. Yes, I can watch replays. I just don't think I'm qualified to talk about it. But I'm talking about from 2007 to now. If we're sitting here and saying, well, I guess now we can't compare him to, Arrogant and Flightline and American Pharoah. Well, there's still a tier just below that was pretty darn good that we could say, well, maybe he was this horse or that horse. So I still don't. I do think he'll lose that luster of being way up towards the very, very top, right? But still a really good horse. And slam dunk 3-year-old of the year, and you listed it, and it's hard for me to believe a horse has never won the Derby, Belmont, Jim Dandy, and Travers. That's pretty incredible.
That is, yeah, I thought so too. And really, only 11 have done the Derby, Travers. You think about how long those two races have gone on. I think it was like Street Sense maybe was the last one to do it.
Yeah, he did do it.
So I believe that was the last one, and that's and that was like, and these two are like the only two I think in the last like 30 years. So it's not, just doesn't happen.
Yeah, and you say, hey, Street Sense, he was the last one to do it, and quickly in my mind I said Street Sense is not this horse, but Street Sense was good. Like he came out of that great crop of 2007 where he beat Curlin in the Derby and he lost to Curlin in the Preakness. They matched up the Breeders' Cup Classic. Curlin was able to win, but Street Sense was a great horse. I don't think he's in the same level as Sovereignty. So that just kind of that right there, if I immediately say something like that, just kind of I'm reaffirming to myself, yeah, you really are high on this horse.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, it's speaking of Street Sense, like you gotta assume, I mean, Sovereignty would be a hell of a sire. He will be a hell of a sire, and just the way he's bred and the way he's ran on the track and stayed relatively healthy, knock on wood, and just the way he's built, he looked, I think he'll be a good sire. But hopefully we don't see that too soon with him, because we'd like to see him on the track continuing to be what he is, and that is incredible. So congrats to Sovereignty winning the Travers. No shocker there. We'll see what he's going to do in the Classic, and we'll find out coming up next here who he might be facing. What about point given?
Like I said, I can't give you an intelligent comment. That was before I really was in the game to a point where I could sit here and tell you about point given. I've seen replays of point given. He was the last horse to pull off the Haskell Travers double. That's obviously really impressive. I'm sure he was very, very, very good based on the resume and the replays I've watched.
It's got to be one. Got to be one of the better 3-year-old campaigns of all time. Certainly, if he goes and finishes it off in the Classic. I mean,
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know how you can top it. I mean, really, other than winning the Triple Crown, right?
Well, winning the Triple Crown, the Haskell second in the Travers, winning the Breeders' Cup Classic, winning 2 big races down in Arkansas. That'd probably be it where I would go.
If he would have won the Travers, it would have solidified. There's no way you could ever touched it. And so there's always going to be that question of, especially with Sovereignty, with the fact they skipped it, there's always going to be the what if, but he didn't. So that counts for something.
Yeah. No, that's why I said, hey, I think he's the best we've seen since American Pharoah. Because you sit there, you show me somebody that did something more than him. I mean,
totally. And that's why I always get the compare. I'm with you. Like I always, not really talking like who's better, but I'm just saying like who I think about the campaign wise, because obviously Sovereignty skipped that race, but like, man, Pharoah just went, you know, and even like journalism, who's kind of really gone in trying to run everywhere for the most part, showed up to all the dances. Pharaoh, especially for a horse that was coming off an injury, went straight to the Rebel. You know, didn't start till March. Rebel, Arkansas Derby, Kentucky Derby, Preakness, you know, Belmont, Haskell, Travers, Classic.
Yep.
That's insane.
And
won
lost
them all
one
except for one, and that was, you know, that was incredible. So
and won the Breeders' Cup Classic by the length of the stretch.
Yeah,
and
incredible.
Dominated the Breeders' Cup Classic. Dominated the Haskell. Pretty much dominated the Belmont. Completely dominated the Preakness. Was all out to win the Derby. That was his worst race. And completely dominated the Arkansas Derby and the Rebel. He was dominant every time except for 2 of those starts.
He was. That's why you compare it. Like, I think he's better than Justified too, because it's just, he did it. You know, Justified was like pure speed and just was just kind of like a, you know, flash in the pan. So, you know, but Pharaoh just showed up. He ran his race. Sometimes most of the time he went to the lead, but he didn't have to go to the lead. Mm-hmm. We saw him do a little both. Like, he was just versatile, just a fucking good horse, man. And by the way, Justified, total dickhead in person. Like, we got to meet him. Pharaoh, the sweetest horse as well, which I loved. So,
Yep.
All right, Saturday at Del Mar. Wait no further. The Pacific Classic. It's brought to you guys by the Pacific Classic Betting Bible. It's available right now over at racingdudes.com. Get our analysis of this race as well as the entire 11-race card on Saturday at Del Mar. It covers this race. It covers all the stakes for action. I mean, this race alone, you got 5 graded stakes. 3 of them are Breeders' Cup winning or in races. You get pick 4, pick 5 analysis, pace projections, AI-powered picks, John White's picks, my picks, Haltman's picks, everything you need to cash in on this day. And it's a good card. You can go get that, the Pacific Classic Betting Bible. It's available right now at racingdudes.com. Get it for free if you are a premium subscriber. All right, Haltman, it's a grade 1, $1 million, $1.25 miles for the 3-year-olds and up. And it is a win you're in for the Breeders' Cup Classic. And listen, I mean, no typos here. Look at this. 8-5 on Nysos, 9-5 on journalism, 3-1 on fierceness. We have when we heard some rumors when we were going to Saratoga, we're like, there's no way. Like, if fierceness actually goes and this is the race we get, this is going to be incredible. And here we go. We got it.
Yeah, we got it. And I was right there with you when I heard the rumor at first. I thought, nah. And then I read it in the Daily Racing Form. I thought, okay, well, maybe so with fierceness. So they brought him over here, adds to the intrigue, adds to the excitement. Who knows, with fierceness, we just never really know what he's going to do. But, we do know that his best race is good enough to get the job done here. So, and look, I don't see just a whole lot of pace. There's some horses that do like to go towards the front, but they're no real burners. Maybe he goes to the lead on the rail and gets comfortable. We'll see. Not like we've never seen that before, right? So glad he's here. Yeah, look, Nysos first journalism, also the big story.
Sure.
It's hard to separate them, right? It's unknown versus unknown. We don't know if Nysos how good he'll be at 1.25 miles. He's bred to do it, but we don't know until he tries it. And we don't know what journalism is going to look like against the older horses. We know that he's been very good against the 3-year-olds, unless it's sovereignty, and he's that is what it is. Everybody's been losing to him, but what will he look like against this high quality older horse here, Nysos, and even fierceness, obviously, as well? If fierceness run his biggest race, that could be a crazy race coming down the stretch. So a lot of unknowns. I can't pick fierceness to win. So that's not going to happen for me. So it came down between Nysos and journalism. I looked at the human factors of this, and I think it does lean towards Nysos. You've got Flavian Pratt versus Umberto Rispoli. I mean, I think we know who we're taking there, right? I think Michael McCarthy is great, but Bob Baffert is the king of Southern California, and his horses are running great at Del Mar. So you kind of got to give the edge to him there a little bit, although, McCarthy's more than capable, obviously. I also think, and this was the big one, why I lean Nysos, why I'm going to pick Nysos in this race. he's been targeting this one for a while. They have built him up just for this one. Journalism has danced a lot of dances. And that last race in the Haskell, it looked all guts to me. I thought he looked a little tired in that race. I know he's at home. This is a really tough challenge. I'm skeptical that he's still got that energy left to win a race like this. I think Nysos is going to outkick him. So give me Nysos.
Yeah, I mean, listen, you kind of broke it down for me. It's kind of how I kind of viewed it. I'm with you. I'm not interested in fear. I'll see how my ticket goes together. I might use him, but I have no interest in playing him, in the race as far as on top as like an exactor, and he can just beat me. So really, it came down to journalism or Nysos, and yeah, you pretty much said it. Like, you look at journalism, and I love this horse, and if he wins, I will not be upset whatsoever because what a horse. And hey, Sovereignty's not on the race, so that should help him, right? Because that's who he only loses to. So, having said that, it's kind of been those last couple. You go back even to go to the Preakness and Rispoli really had to kind of get after him like midway through the race, even like early in the race, like kind of to get him into the race. And then, the Belmont, I thought he ran incredible, got beat obviously to Sovereignty, but ran great. And then in the Haskell, looked beat again and got the job done, but he's not chasing down Gosker here. He's going to have to chase down what I would assume would be Nysos. And that's going to be tough because I think a lot of Nysos. And again, we don't know the mile and a quarter. That's the question mark with him. And, some of these horses have done it. Fiercest has done it. Journalism's done it. Nysos hasn't. But like you said, it's gone. He's, after he's come back off that long layoff, he's gone 7 furlongs twice and mile 16th last time out. And really, to me, didn't really look like he was having much issue getting going further. So I think the fact that Bob Baffert has made this the goal with him the whole time, and like there's been no hiccups from what we know. Like it's been like, hey, we're going here, then we're going here. Like I lean there. And by the way, like, and I just keep going to it, and so I wanted to bring it up. So the Churchill Downs, which was back on May 3rd, the Churchill Downs Stakes, that has just been one of the most like key races that I've ever seen for a group of horses that has got what they've gone on to do. So that was the Churchill Downs. If everyone remembers, Mindframe won the race, Banishing second, Nysos third. It was dead heat for second and third. Bookham Dano was fourth, Mulligan was fifth. So since that race, I went back and looked at the top 5 finishers of that race. Since that race, Mindframe has won the Stephen Foster. He's running on Sunday, so that could even be bolstered on Sunday in the Jockey Club. We'll get to that in a second. Banishing won the other day in the Charlestown Classic. He's back in that race. That's interesting. Nysos, of course, in this race, also won the Triple Bend and the San Diego. Bookham Dano went on to win the True North, Vanderbilt, and the Forgo. And Mulligan, by the way, would have probably won either of those races, the True North and Vanderbilt, had not been for Bookham Dano, who ran second in both of those. That was and by the way, Nysos doesn't like that was his first race back in how long, Alterman? Like over a year.
Yeah,
that was his first race back. I think it says a lot about Mindframe. I think it says a lot about Nysos. Nysos is building it back up. I think he's ready to fire a huge one here.
Yeah, it was first race in about 15 months over a sloppy track, wide the whole way around it, and still almost got the job done and got beat by, like say, Mindframe, who was just has been really, really good and was good in that race as well. And look, we could say, okay, he lost that race. He also beat Bookham Dano, who's come back to win 3 straight. Now, of course, it was right there. They all finished together, but I mean, my goodness, just incredible. But anyway, a really productive race, and they've all bounced out of it well. I had to be careful here because I'm really, really rooting for journalism because I'm with you. Like he's one of my favorites. Like from a fan standpoint, I really like him, and I love the how they've just danced every dance with him and all this stuff. And I love him, but I don't know what he's got left. I just don't. When he ran at Belmont, I thought it was his best career race. I thought he was fantastic in that race. And then you see that Haskell, and I was just like, oh boy, it was what a gutty horse. But man, I'm not sure. And I told you right before we got on the air, I said, I think Bob Baffert looks at it and goes, look, goal oriented almost beat him. Like it was close, right? In the Haskell. This Nysos horse is better than goal oriented, right? So I think Baffert looks at it and goes, he's going to have journalism's going to have to up his game or we're going to beat him in this spot.
I completely agree. How do you think this race though is going to kind of, because it's hard to figure because you've got a horse like Fierceness who at a time in his career was very forwardly placed, if not on the lead, and could be dangerous there. And then you have a horse like Nysos who has done that before and certainly tends to be forwardly placed, although wasn't necessarily the case a few of those races, including the San Diego when he did stretch out. You got to, drawing the rail with Fierceness and almost maybe kind of to a point. I don't know. Again, I have no idea, but I just kind of guessing where they're like, you know what? We got to try something different. We got to, I don't know what his deal is, but it's not working. Maybe we say, go to the lead, go, press the pace a little bit here. Nysos tracks him. I don't think journalism is going to be as fast as Nysos early in the race. I wouldn't be surprised. Now, there might be a rabbit in here that goes, right? But I wouldn't be surprised to see Fierceness very close to the lead.
Well, here's the deal. Fierceness draws the rail, and they when he's at his best, what they've done is park him wide and outside of other horses, and they've just said, we'll lose ground, but just stay away from everybody, basically, right? So how are you going to do that here? You're going to have to break pretty well and clear and then kind of move over. And if anybody wants to go inside you, go ahead, but I'm just going to kind of let him do his thing over here. So I think it's likely he's on the lead. There are other horses that do have speed. I kind of think Nysos is going to sit like third or fourth, a couple lengths off the pace. And then I think journalism will be behind him. And then it gets interesting because here's the deal. When journalism has a target, he's passed it every time. It's been a horse coming from behind him that's passed him, right?
Yep. Interesting.
But this time, the target, I guess, will be Nysos. Can he pass that horse? I don't know. So that's where it gets very, very interesting, right? Because I don't think Nysos will be behind journalism, and I don't think anybody behind journalism is going to come get him. So can he get there? Can he catch that horse this time? That's the intriguing thing. But again, I think it'll be a decent pace. I do think Fierceness will be the one out in front. Now, the flip side of that is you really can't rely on him to do anything. He may go out and set a blazing pace and take him gate to wire. He may get crunched out of the gate and get discouraged and never factor into the race. Either one is equally possible.
Yeah. The thing about Fierceness is you basically don't, you don't really have to handicap him because it's like there's been so many cases, right? Whitney, let's go to recency where it's like, hey, perfect trip. Hey, exactly what I dreamt up. Perfect. Top the stretch. Awesome. Send it home, buddy. Doesn't do it, right? And so, with him, it's all mental, or whatever. But it's like, so like say, well, and I'm with you. Like he gets discouraged, and that's why they try to keep him away from horse. It's not good to be a horse that likes to get discouraged by other horses, but it's not great. But at some point, you're just like, listen, I don't know what he's going to do. I think he's going to be there, but at the end of the day, it's not going to matter what he does because I could be dead on what he does, and it's not going to dictate him winning or losing the race. What's going to dictate that is if the idiot decides to do it or not, right?
Yeah.
And Bob Baffert even mentioned, he's like, listen, Fierceness at his best can beat everyone. Like he can win, and he's right. He can. That's what a horse like that is. That's why a horse like that is so annoying, because if you don't use him, he maybe not for sure, but he can certainly beat you. If you use him, you could be really pissed at yourself too.
Yeah, for sure. I know we were talking about like we do when we're around our buddies. That's all we talk about is racing, I feel like. But we were talking about fierceness, and Vinny kind of said what you said, and I echoed it as well. I remember the Derby thinking, hell yeah, this is in the bag.
Right.
And then in a half of a millisecond, it's like, oh, he's not running. I was all but positive the Whitney was in the bag. And then in a millisecond, he stops running. I've never seen one turn for home looking as good as him, ahead as far as him in the Whitney, and miss the board. I've never seen an elite horse. Supposed to be an elite horse. Yeah. So I don't think anybody can tell you with a straight face they know what they're gonna see out of him. One thing I will say, Magic brought this up to me. Shippers that come into the Pacific Classic have not been good lately at all. Now, he did caveat, hey, some of these shippers that have come in haven't been all that good, but they haven't even ran to their odds. They have not been good. So that's something to keep an eye on as well in this one.
Yeah, what's insane too is like when you look at the form or like the chart, there's never once is he in first, but when you watch the race, obviously we saw it. But yeah, it's like as fast as he was in the lead, as fast as he was out of the lead, and not even. And the thing about fierceness that's so annoying is you just know so fast, right? That it's not happening. It's not like, oh, come on, like gut it out. You're done. You're like, it's over. Like
done.
You just start ripping up your tickets. It's over. Like when he throws in the towel, he throws it in. There's no gritty, let's get there kind of thing. It's over.
So like Christopher Maillo says, no sooner did Frank Miramotti say he was ahead by 3, he was done, which is the most accurate comment. I was watching the race with Heather, and they're turning for home. She goes, what do you think? I said, it's going to be Fierceness or Sierra Leone, and it shouldn't be really close between the others. I said, Fierceness got a great trip. He made his move. He always runs well from here. But I look back, it's like, yeah, Sierra Leone's running. And again, I looked back and said, well, okay, Sierra Leone could catch him because he's really, really good.
Yeah.
And as soon as I look back to look what Fierceness is doing, he's behind. And I said, what the hell just happened? He was 3 ahead. How is he behind?
Keep an eye on that horse. You never know. You can watch a replay. See what happened. Did he trip? No, he just stopped.
You literally just scale back for the horses coming from behind. And you look back to your horse that you assume is going to be ahead by at least the same margin that he was, and he's not even in the lead. It's crazy.
Like if it's one thing, if he does his race and kind of similar to the Classic, right, where he kind of runs, and he was obviously a little faster that day, but runs and gets beat by Sierra Leone, then you just say, well, okay. And it kind of felt like that was it, right? Like he'd kind of figured out even his losses, he ran well, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's like it's back. So
yep.
I think it's important to remember too with Jordan, like Jordan says, like he likes the track. He does. He finished second, like I mentioned, in that Classic. So does Nysos, who's 2 for 2 at Del Mar, and not to mention Journalism, who won his maiden special weight at Del Mar. So obviously a little more recency with Nysos there, and Fierceness really than Journalism. But there's no track issues, I wouldn't assume, for any of these horses.
No, yeah, and Fierceness can run anywhere. You just never know. So
yeah, to me, Rapoli, this is like a Rapoli totally move. Like, let's try it. And gosh, if it doesn't happen here, I mean, if he doesn't run just decent, you got to think although I could also say or see Rapoli being like, you know what, we're already out there. We'll just do it one more time in the Classic, and then we'll retire him. But listen, when he showed up and won the juvenile that year, he was not thought to win. He was 17-1 almost, and he won. So maybe he finally gets to a price that you're like, okay, I can play him in the Classic. But okay, that's all. Last question I'll mention here.
Mm-hmm.
What do you think odds wise we're looking at? Do you think there's a case that Journalism goes off the favorite, Nysos second choice, Fierceness maybe 5-2, 3-1 still?
Well, it's funny because John White he said he would have made journalism the favorite, and if he could bet, he would bet that journalism would be the co-off the favorite, obviously. But then I talked to Samich today, and my thought as well is I think Nysos will be the favorite. So we'll see. John White's only made the morning line for however many years before he retired. So I would say he'll probably end up being right, but I don't know. I think Nysos will be the favorite. Anyway, I do think it'll be like 7-5 Nysos, 8-5 journalism, 5-2 fierceness. That's how I see it.
Yeah. These three will take all the money, right? And they deservingly should. Yeah, I mean, that is interesting, right? Journalism does get £6 here because of the 3-year-old. So, if you are a weight guy and you think that will be if you think Nysos journalism are that close to each other and that could kind of lean towards journalism for sure. All right, I said last question. I'll ask you last question here. So fierceness, like whatever, like he is what he is. He's an enigma. But if Nysos okay, I'll ask you 2 questions because if Nysos wins, are you like, all right, that's the horse that Sovereignty's got to beat. That's it. Like he's the horse. That's the monster out west. And if journalism wins, are you sitting there thinking, wow, the monster is actually out east? It's Sovereignty.
Yeah, look, I think if Nysos wins, it's just a matter of what does it look like? How did he finish the last 16th of a mile? How many did he win by? What was the final? All that stuff, right? Just hey, he won. Well, okay, you know what I mean. But yeah, how Nysos does it is going to be important. If he wins by a length or two and he's straight as a string in the stretch and journalism came running and couldn't get him, then I do think all of a sudden Nysos is kind of that horse, at least for a day until we see Sunday's race. He would be that horse that you think could beat journalism. But and if could beat Sovereignty. If journalism wins, I mean, to me, it's just like, okay, let's watch the next day and see if Sierra Leone or Mindframe maybe could beat Sovereignty, because I just have a hard time thinking journalism is going to turn the tables on Sovereignty.
Seems unlikely, right? Watching that monster, it's hard to sit here and think that he could do it. But listen, I do applaud the fact that he's running here. Not an easy race. He's had really no easy races, and he shows up for all of them. So it's going to be fun to see. This is going to be a hell of a race, guys. So make sure you tune in to watch this one. This is going to be race 10, 6:11 Pacific time on Saturday. The Grade 1 Pacific Classic. Nysos versus journalism versus fierceness. We'll find out who punches their ticket to the Classic then. I can't wait. All right, awesome. Jason, hang on. Hold your horses, Jason. We're going to do it now. We'll see. One sleep later would go to Saratoga all the way, and some of the jockeys do as well, including Flavian Pratt, go all the way back to Saratoga for race 5, the Jockey Club Gold Cup, another Grade 1, $1 million, mile and a quarter for 3-year-olds and up. Man, what a weekend we have here, Alterman. Mindframe versus Sierra Leone, 2-1 versus 8-5. Hey, listen, so far you could say Mindframe, he's got the edge on Sierra Leone. He's done it. Can he do it here when it matters? Banishing's back as well. Antiquarian, a horse that you've liked in some spots, I'll say, at 12-1. Highland Falls, who ran a really nice race last out against these horses at 5-1. Disarm actually got third as well that day, so at 15-1. Guadabario, can't disregard him. And the Rabbit, Cadre Thinking, is at 50-1. It's funny how they put the odds on there. It's like they just know. Like, this was the Rabbit. We'll put him at 50-1.
I know. It's pretty funny. We could have put him 99-1. It would have been okay with me. Gosh, what a race.
Yeah, when you thought that race was good, just look at this one, and it gets just as good, if not better.
Yeah, I'm not sure which one's better. I think they're pretty close. Well, look, I'm going to do it one more time. Give me number 3 Sierra Leone to win one more time here. I do see a lot of pace in the race. Let me backtrack. I see enough pace in the race where I do think It'll set up okay for Sierra Leone. If the pace sets up at 1.25 miles, I think he's the better horse. I do know that Mindframe has beaten him, and they've beaten him twice and has beaten him at this distance. I think the version of Sierra Leone we saw last time out in the Whitney, if he can repeat that effort, I think he'll catch Mindframe in the last kind of stages of the race. So I took Sierra Leone.
This is I mean, like I that last race is going to be amazing. This one to me has the true slugfest like feeling of like there's going to be this hard knocking finish, and because that's kind of how Sierra Leone runs. He's kind of got that. He's flying late, and can he get there, and will he get there? And listen, they both are very, very good horses. I've liked Mindframe forever. Mindframes ran at Saratoga once. It was the 1.25 mile race as well, and that was, of course, the Belmont Stakes. Finished second to Dornoch. Looked like he had it won. Didn't. Came back and beat Sierra Leone in the Sierra Foster, Stephen Foster. And listen, when I went back and watched that replay, I couldn't help I know it's 1.8 miles, not 1.25 miles. But when you watch them get to the turn, Mindframe and Sierra Leone almost gets to Mindframe. Like they're almost side by side, and he still can't get to Mindframe. And in fact, when they hit the wire, it did kind of visually look like Sierra Leone was coming, but they go past it. You see the run out. He's 100 feet ahead of Sierra Leone. Mindframe still was. I mean, it's like if I get the longer distance, and that's my concern. Like that's a little bit more equalizer for Sierra Leone because we know how good he is in 1.25 miles. He hits the board every time. In fact, and he's turned out to kind of like Saratoga. Maybe he doesn't not like it as like everyone thought at first, but I don't know. I think Mindframe that he showed that he's a little bit better. I think than now the 1.25 that could be ultimately be the edge, but kind of head to head, I think Mindframe's a little bit better than Sierra Leone, and not sure why he didn't run him in the Whitney. Wish he would have, but we're going to see that here, and I think he gets the job done.
Yeah, I mean, you can't really argue with either side. I don't think. Look, I think Mindframe. What a massive race for him, one way or another, right? I mean, this is if he can get this one, he probably is that horse that everybody's thinking, okay, he could beat Sovereignty, because he does have the same type of running style as Sovereignty. Yeah, look, I think the pace is going to be really important in this race. If it's not very fast, I do think Mindframe is going to be very tough. I just kind of feel like if it gets speeded up a little bit, he sits a little close to it. He will turn for home in front. He might just be a little softened up, and I think Sierra Leone can come get him. Now, one horse I will tell you I will throw up if he wins is Antiquarian, because I have supported this horse at a big price twice and been completely heartbroken. I think this horse has an elite amount of talent, but I think he is stupid. I don't know how to put it any better than that. He totally cost himself the blame. He totally cost himself the Suburban. He loses a lot of ground on the turn. He just doesn't take turns well. I don't know how you fix that, so I don't think he wins in this spot. But if for whatever reason he puts it all together mentally, I think he's just as good as maybe not just as good as Mindframe or Sierra Leone, but I think he's close. So I'm interested in Antiquarian underneath. But I just don't think he's as good as those top two.
Yeah, this race feels like it's like these horses are like Contrary Thinking sucks. He's whatever, but I mean Phileas Fogg is, if nothing else, is a pace presence. But he did just go wire to wire in a Grade 2 Suburban. He's again dangerous at least on the front end. Highland Falls. I mean, listen, he only only ran 2 races this year since the Classic where he didn't run well, but he's ran really well in both his starts. Got second to Sierra Leone last out. He could definitely take another step up. He ran a huge race that day in Highland Falls. Wide Barrio, another kind of fierceness type horse where you're like, his best is capable. Is he got his best anymore? I'm questionable of that. And then, like you said, Antiquarian. And then, I mean, Banishing, I think, is a very good horse. I just don't know what they're doing with him. He's just all over the place. But he could certainly hit the board. I wouldn't be shocked. And so I do think, even though this feels very top heavy, there's ways to make some good money in this race if you can get creative with those underneath horses, because I do think a horse like Banishing or Phileas Fogg or, like you said, Antiquarian could hit the board and or even get second maybe. And then all of a sudden it goes, maybe Sierra Leone over Antiquarian. And all of a sudden it's like, you keyed everything on Mind Frame. So I do think it could get somewhat it feels a little chalky. I think it could get a little bit wide open, especially on those like trifectas go.
Yeah, if it was anything like last week at Saratoga, you had that big price split, a couple of those smaller prices, or get third. So,
did you think Bracket Buster was going to run second in the Travers? I mean, exactly. It happens.
Yep. And I think Antiquarian is one of those horses that could split them or get third. Disarm, if there's a pace meltdown, could get up there for second or third, maybe. I don't like White Barrio. I think he's one you can so go ahead and put him in the winner circle. I think he's one you can kind of stay away from playing. The Highland Falls thing's interesting. I don't know if I like him at 5-1. He is the defending champion of this race, but I was there watching this race last year. It was not very good. It was a pretty bad race. This is a much, much better version this year.
Was the Good Whitney a good race? I mean,
what do you want me to say? Is Flavian Pratt a good jockey? I mean, come on.
I think it was good.
Ridiculous comment.
I mean, it feels good. It felt good to me. Ran a 109 buyer for the race. Listen, I think it is going to be fun to see that we have both these races. I know the different tracks, but both these races at a mile and a quarter. Of course, mile and a quarter for the Travers, and then a mile and a quarter Classic. So, man, if you can't ask for a better kind of week period of at least of the first measuring stick here of how these horses match up. Mind Frame, like if I could take a bet on will Mind Frame be in the lead at the top of the stretch, I would take that. Like guarantee you he'll be a league. And not only that, he'll probably look like a winner, Yep. And so I'm with you. The concern is, can he hold off the likes of Sierra Leone, sure, but can he hold off the likes of everybody else? How close is he going to be to the lead? He's just naturally fast. Although, when he went sprinting, he was off of it, which was kind of weird. But naturally, he's early, placed, kind of forward. He's not going to be on the lead, but I imagine it'll be close. Will that soften him enough for, like you said, Sierra Leone? I don't know. We'll see. We'll see if Rapoli and Pletcher made the right move to save him for this race. I mean, I don't know. He is the one that I'm like, I think he's good enough. I feel way more confident in Nysos than him, just because of who he's facing. I think Sierra Leone. I mean, this is a Breeders' Cup Classic, the defending champion. He's a legit. He's gonna have to hold him off, and I'm not a huge guy on like Mind Frame doesn't want to go this far. I think he's proven that he can. I just think he's a really good horse. A horse that can do what we talked about like we just went over the Churchill Downs, right, earlier.
Yeah.
This is the horse that won it. And he won it off the lead. He won it from the clouds, right? And this is also the same horse that, won the got second in the Haskell and the Belmont to Dornoch, won the Stephen Foster, who's already got his ticket into the Classic. But he beat Sierra Leone. He went from 7 furlongs to a mile and eighth race to a mile and a quarter. That's pretty insane. He's obviously got extreme talent. He's just going to have to show it. He's going to have to showcase on the biggest stage that he can do it again.
Yeah, he's beat himself twice, especially once. The Haskell, I don't know, right? I mean, he certainly had a chance, but the Belmont, he was the winner, right? And he totally blew it. Where the Haskell, it was debatable if he would have won or lost. But again, he's beaten himself twice. The other races he's won, so it's really hard. It's really hard to sit here and say, "Oh, I'm fading him," because he's been really, really good. I just question this distance against the Sierra Leone we saw last time. I just thought that was his best race since the Breeders' Cup for Sierra Leone was that last race. I thought he ran tremendous, and he's with Sierra Leone. He's kind of stopped that lugging in stuff, and I think that's a big help as well.
Yeah, he, numbers wise, he ran a 109, which matches his Travers, but he got 112 in the Classic where he won. But yeah, the thing about mind frame to me is like, I know it feels weird to say a horse is 5 for 7 and he's the only 2 losses per seconds, but he needs to break through for me. Like he had all this hype and he goes to the Belmont, and granted he was 5-1 that day, but and he had it done. He couldn't get, like, that's the biggest race, and he couldn't get it done. And then the Haskell, another huge race, couldn't quite pull the trigger. Now it's like, okay, he's kind of old news. Wins Gulfstream Park Mile, and it takes a little bit more time. Wins the Churchill Downs. Now he's won the Stephen Foster. Can he continue to be the build-up horse that kind of was always thought to be, right? Mm-hmm. And by winning in a race, not just winning this race, which is a very big race, but beating Sierra Leone another time, who obviously deserving favorite, would be huge for him moving forward.
Well, and that's the other thing we really didn't talk about. Broke the maiden and then went to Churchill and ran in that allowance race before on Derby Day. Like it's usually like the third race of the day. And then went right to the Belmont and then went right to the Haskell. That's tough. He had some excuses to kind of maybe not have it all together or all figured out, where now, here's the thing. His first race, he was a mess this year. And I thought, same old dumbass, just a mess. He's got talent. But then the Churchill Downs and the Stephen Foster, he was perfect. And if that horse shows up, he will always be tough to beat. I don't care who he faces, because that's a really good horse that's kind of acting like a professional, right? So this is, like I said, it's so far so good at those last 2 races. It seems like he's back to being, where he needs to be.
What's crazy is Mindframe has had 7 career starts. Nysos has had 6 career starts. Sierra Leone, 12. He's got 1 less start than those 2 combined. So it just goes to show you how good Sierra Leone has been, but also how lightly raced both Mindframe and Nysos really are in the big picture of things. Someone asked, Rob asked, Disarm. Listen, I've been on Disarm a few times, different times throughout, last year or so. I can't do it, Rob. I don't see any reason why he couldn't hit the board like he did in the Whitney. He's just not good enough. Just plain and simple. He's not.
I can't play him anywhere close to the first 2 spots. Could I play him in 3rd and 4th? Yes, I think I could. But
listen, look at that 3rd. Like, it was like you never thought about Disarm, But
and that's anytime Disarm does anything, you look back and go, "Who was it? Oh, it was a Disarm."
Yeah,
cool.
yeah.
Like you never, yeah. Obviously, we're talking about in a bigger race. I know he's won some lesser ones, but
he got 3rd in this race last year to Highland Falls, like you said. Again, it was a very well-bagged 3rd. Listen, he likes, he's okay at Saratoga, we'll say, and he's ran okay at this distance. So, if some of these horses don't, go on with it, I don't think it's impossible that he were to finish 3rd or 4th if you're playing the Super or whatever. But I don't have any interest in, to me, like if you look at Disarm or Antiquarian's a horse that I could say, okay, if you want to get creative, let's put him on top on one of our tickets or whatever. Because if he does, I think he's got the talent to do it. I don't think Disarm. And by the way, I've been fooled by Disarm before, so I'm this is coming from the recovery group of Disarm.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I do think there's something to be said about a horse that he shows up and he gets these paychecks every once in a while. I would just love to, and look, I'm an Asmussen guy too, so I would love to see him do it, but I just can't find a race to go, hey, right there, if he does that, he's got a chance to win. I just find races that goes, okay, if he does that, he might round out the Super or the Tri, So
well, he's got that really annoying style that
can
kind of deceive you sometimes, where it's like, well, if he got he was coming, a little longer, maybe a little less traffic or whatever. It's like, no, he won't do it. He's not good enough. But you think he wants. He fooled me once.
Yep.
All right. That's going to be a hell of a race, guys. Again, that race is race 5, which that's odd, right? That's got to be for TV, right?
I don't know what they're I don't think they're gonna be on TV at like that early.
12:45.
I don't know. I really don't know the answer to that question.
1:45 Eastern. Race 5 is the Gold Cup. I did a double take when I saw that earlier. I was like, why is it early in the card?
Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a misprint when I was doing it yesterday, doing the preview video for it yesterday. I thought it was a misprint. It was weird.
Yeah.
Christopher may be right. He says that he thinks Fox has college football later.
I wondered if they wanted to make sure it got on TV, but also didn't have the time to do it later. I didn't know.
Yeah. So, okay, that's what they're going to do. Now, wait a second, though. What channel is Ohio State? No. That's Sunday. This is Sunday.
Yeah.
Sunday. Okay. Forget it. I'm so used to the big one being on Saturday. Sunday. Yeah. So that's right. There's 2 college football games on. Okay. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, it's gonna be a hell of a weekend, guys.
Okay.
No matter what, I would say just take hopefully we cash some bets, but take these races whether you were completely right or completely wrong with your analysis. Sometimes it's easy to kind of get too negative about a horse or whatever and then use it against them moving forward, which obviously would be the classic for most of these horses. So I think use these as a handicapping tool and hopefully we see some good performances. I do think between the two, like I said, I think the slugfest portion of the two, I think is the Jockey Club just feels like it. Maybe this because they're a little Sierra Leone is like the seasoned defending champ. I don't know, but something about him makes me feel like it's going to be a slugfest. Like he's going to throw it down.
Kind of agree. I kind of think both of them might be close.
I hope they are.
I kind of think they're going to be. I especially think that one at Saratoga is going to be a barn burner. It's going to be a close finish. Because while you're on Mindframe and I'm on Sierra Leone, if Mindframe wins, there's no shock,
Yeah.
So I think that's and I feel like both those horses are getting ready to run big, and we don't have the unknowns that we've got in that other race either. So I think that's going to be a slugfest. Yeah.
The thing is, the good thing about if Mindframe is to win, like one, I cashed a bet, but 2, like Sierra Leone, we know is going to the Classic. Like forget about it. There's even if he runs like 5th here, he's going to the Classic. Assuming he's okay. Mindframe wins, like for sure, right? They're going to the Classic. Probably already are, but like if he has a complete dud or can't quite get the 1.25 miles and he kind of feels like he maybe. So like, let's get him there. Let's have so if you get a good effort out of both him, Sierra Leone, same goes with Nysos and Journalism. Both of them come out in good order, then onto the Classic, and we're shaping up for just an unbelievable Classic against the beast from the East, who's just sitting there with his popcorn watching both of these races on Saturday and Sunday. Good spot for him to be in. He's in the clubhouse just watching the rest of these idiots go. So he's sitting in the barn watching, see if Mindframe or
just chilling,
just hanging out. Mindframe or Sierra Leone talking shit to him as they're heading out to the track. All right, guys, that's all the time we have. Make sure you check us out over to the website at racingdudes.com to get the premium picks, free picks, or free picks, I should say, or premium picks. Just get that Get Racing Dudes premium button at the top of the menu to learn more. Again, the Pacific Classic Wagering Guide, Betting Bible, is available right now over at the website. So go check that out. If you're a subscriber, you can download it in the dashboard. Should be the final version, or at least the first version of the full release of it. Should be out here sometime tonight once I get done with that. And then, again, we'll do updates and things like that throughout the next couple of days. But that will be available this week. So go get that to help you with the Del Mar card on Saturday. We're on Twitter at @racing_dudes, Instagram and Facebook. You can find all episodes of Blinkers Off by visiting our podcast page, Apple, Google, everywhere. It's there. Go to YouTube. Make sure you hit that like, notification, and subscribe. Due to bet, You guys talked all about that earlier in the week. Magic Mike, I hope, will be on tomorrow. I would assume be in Del Mar, right?
I would think, yeah.
And that's it. Oh, I was going to tell you. So the video I took of Sovereignty winning the Travers, I posted it on social media. It's got like, and I keep getting these alerts on Facebook, like from our business account, and I keep getting these likes, and I'm like, what? Like, why do I keep getting all this shit? Because normally it's after I post something, but this has just been all the time, and I'm like, I must have had something go viral here. So I went and looked. It's got like 80,000 views.
Wow.
The video that I took of Sovereignty winning.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Very cool.
People, and oddly enough, people are all going crazy about him. It's like he's so good that even the trolls are like, I got nothing. I got nothing.
You were telling me there was some person, and Shoddy was telling me too, that just hates him.
Yeah, what is it? Does anybody in the chat know what I'm talking? It's like Steve or something, but it's like written real weird on Twitter. And that dude, I didn't see if he said anything after this race, but he hates him. Like anything, he's like, he just, no matter what he does, and he loves journalism. So it's like, it's like he was hating on the fact that Sovereignty took the easy road to get to the Travers, and then someone was like, well, where's journalism? He's skipping the Travers, and there, so it's like, I don't know what his name is. I don't want to give him any credit by telling people what the exact, handle, but it's almost to the point where it's like, this has got to be fake. This has got to be, like, you can't be that dumb.
That's what I was getting ready to ask you. It's probably fake, right?
It's got to be.
He's on there just trying to make people mad.
It doesn't make me mad, but it's just like, it does make a lot of people mad. Yes.
Well, yeah, like Shoddy was all upset, and I was like, who is it? It's like, somebody on Twitter. I was like, why? That's on you. Why are you letting that person make you bad? Like, what do you care? You probably know more about racing than whoever's making that comment. So don't worry about it. If it's somebody that works at DRF saying it, then maybe be upset. But
some rando on Twitter is not exactly
no, it's not grounds to be upset about. Let's put it that way.
He's not exactly like in charge of much, so
yeah. No.
But yeah, it was cool to see. And what was great about the video is it wasn't like I'd called some shot or something, but I stood up in the turn and I said, watch this. And I got my phone out and stood up, and just, it's like when it's going to happen. It's like it's like to be able to film a race where you're like, I'm watching it, but I'm like, I'm not, you forget to film. Like, no, I'm going to document this.
Right.
Go to our Twitter or our, I think it's on our Facebook page is where it went viral. And you can find the video. It just says like one word, Sovereignty or something like that. And it's just, it's really not, it's just a stretch run. Those accounts are way more mean than that.
Yeah. I was gonna say
now this one's way too focused on just the horse. Like this, if it was one of my exes, it would take some personal shots at me, I feel like.
Right. I would agree.
But there probably are some of those out there too. So
I would say.
All right, Halterman. So we got this weekend. Of course, the closing weekend and these huge weekend of racing. What's on tap before we end the show here? What do we have to look forward to? Obviously, the Breeders' Cup first, end of October into November. Kind of what are we looking at as far as Del Mar and Saratoga, Indy, and what's coming up?
Yeah, once those two big tracks are over with, we do have Del Mar next week as well for the few days, so that'll be fun. Then the Pennsylvania Derby is kind of the next big day coming up at the end of September. That'll be a very good race. It won't have Sovereignty or journalism, but it will have, at least as of right now, Baeza and some of the other horses there, Gosker, goal-oriented. Keeneland opens up after that. We got a lot to talk about there. A lot of Breeders' Cup prep action there, and Santa Anita comes back when Keeneland does as well. So those are the major kind of things happening. Churchill Downs will run the Iroquois and the Pocahontas here in a couple weeks, so that'll be big as well. So there's a lot of action still breaking down before the Breeders' Cup gets here. I know. When the summer ends, people are like, okay, now on to the Breeders' Cup. But don't forget, September and October do look pretty loaded. And then, of course, Breeders' Cup. That's what it's all going to lead up to.
It's going to be awesome. Cannot wait. This classic, fingers crossed, pray for everyone to run well and health and those things, because it's shaping up to potentially be, one of the best classics of all time. And it's been with sovereignty being the explanation point. So fun weekend, guys. Cannot wait. Thanks everybody for tuning in, though. I'm Jared Welch. He's Aaron Alterman. Good luck this weekend, guys.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Blinkers Off. Join our horse racing community at racingdudes.com and follow us on Twitter at racing_dudes. Want to make money betting horses? Bet with the Racing Dudes.